The Forgiveness of Sin by John Owen. An exposition of Psalm 130. Prefatory note. The circumstances in which this exposition of Psalm 130 originated are peculiarly interesting. Dr. Owen himself, in a statement made to Mr. Richard Davis, who ultimately became a pastor of a church in rural Northamptonshire, explains the occasion which led him to a very careful examination of the fourth verse in the psalm. Mr. Davis, being under religious impressions, had sought a conference with Owen. In the course of the conversation, Dr. Owen put the question, "Young man, pray, in what manner do you think to go to God?" "Through the mediator, sir," answered Mr. Davis. "That is easily said," replied the doctor, "but I assure you it is another thing to go to God through the mediator than many who make use of the expression are aware of. I myself preach Christ," he continued, "some years when I had but very little if any experimental acquaintance with access to God through Christ, until the Lord was pleased to visit me with sore affliction, whereby I was brought to the mouth of the grave, and under which my soul was oppressed with horror and darkness. But God graciously relieved my spirit by a powerful application of Psalm 130 verse 4. But there is forgiveness with thee, that thou mayest be feared, from whence I receive special instruction, peace, and comfort, and draw near to God through the mediator, and preach thereupon immediately after my recovery." The incident to which he refers had occurred in an early period in his public life, and it is probable this exposition is the substance of the discourses which he preached on his recovery from affliction, under the influence of enlivened faith and the mediation of Christ. We cannot wonder that the particular verse which had proved to Owen a spring of refreshment in a weary place should receive prominent and prolonged consideration in this work. The exposition of it constitutes nearly 3/4 of the whole treatise. These facts, moreover, account for its prevailing character. It is hardly a specimen of pure commentary so much as a series of discourses with the verses of the psalm, and more especially the fourth verse as a text selected. The charge of prolixity and diffuseness urged against this work applies only if it be tried by the rules according to which we estimate the merits of a commentary. There are, for example, 13 separate facts and arguments, illustrative of the great doctrine that there is forgiveness with God, each opening up very precious minds of thought and inquiry, but all of them out of place, at least in the lengths to which they extend. If viewed simply as the exposition of a verse, the reader bent on his own edification, rather than on judging of the work by the standard of a very rigid criticism, not unthankful for what of commentary proper it contains, will be happy that the author took a course leaving him free to indulge in that teeming opulence of evangelical illustration and frequency of awakening appeals, which impart a distinctive character and peculiar interest to the work. The original imprimatur of the volume bears date 1668, and such, according to all authorities, was the year in which it first appeared. We have seen an edition printed in 1669 and another printed in 1680. The latter must correspond with and must have been printed from the first edition, for it contains some sentences quite obscure and incomplete, which are corrected in the edition of 1669. It is singular also that every modern reprint should embody the inaccuracies of the first edition. Editor.